recently, Matthew Vaughn. In case y'all don't know, Matthew Vaughn is the guy who directed Kick-Ass. He did Kingsman. He did X-Men First Class. So this is a pretty good director out there. And he was doing the little press tour or whatever, and he was talking about all these different things that he was working on, or things that he was pitched, or shoulda, coulda, woulda stuff, right? And the question came up about what would you do with Star Wars, you know, and he answered the question. And I thought it brought up a pretty interesting point. But here's what he ended up saying here. Let me make it a little bigger for y'all. He said that if Disney, if they wanted to reboot Star Wars, set the story with the Skywalkers, and then I'll go, hey, that will be interesting, because for me, it's got to be so bold, so different, and so brave. They said you can't do that. I was like, there have been 3 Spider-Mans, James Bond. Like, what are you talking about? Why can't that happen? I don't control Star Wars, but I would do something big, brave, and with the great characters. I want to see Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, and Chewie doing their stuff, not some distant cousin. Who cares? Now, I think that this brings up a very, very good point, because I personally, as someone who came a little late to the party to Star Wars, I came after the prequels came out, and a little bit right before the new movies came out. That's when I started to really get into it. Coming into Star Wars a little bit late, I kind of got, I guess, at one point I was like, oh man, this thing has been hyped up for so long. Let me see what all the hype is all about. And I don't think that the movies lived up to the hype. And even though the movies didn't live up to the hype, it's not to say I didn't appreciate them. They were cool, except for the new ones. I really don't mess with the new ones like that. The animated series, I thought, did a very, very good job in finally explaining why Star Wars is so beloved. It explained the war, it explained the characters, it finally gave Anakin the justice he deserved as a character. It did all of that. But let me explain one reason why I would actually be in favor if they rebooted Star Wars. And that's because to this very day, Star Wars, their biggest fumble has been Luke Skywalker. I mean, even if you were a casual fan, even if you were an outsider looking in, you've probably heard of Darth Vader, but you've probably also heard of Luke Skywalker. But when you go back and watch the movies, I'm sitting here like, Luke Skywalker is supposed to be this grand super Jedi hero, this almost a Superman-like type of character, and he never lives up to his potential. At least none that we see. I mean, in the original trilogy, he doesn't even defeat the Emperor. Darth Vader does. Spoiler alert. So then we fast forward to the new trilogy, and it's like, he out here drinking green goat milk or something? Like, what? Well, then he dies? What? Like, where is the Luke Skywalker that all these Star Wars fans have been hyping up for years? Because I ain't seen him. I saw a little bit of him in The Mandalorian, and we barely saw him do much. I mean, he had that nice little scene where he went through a couple androids or whatever. That was cool. But I'm saying the hype for Luke Skywalker has never been matched or even seen on a cinematic big screen. And that's a problem. That is a problem. That's like saying, hey, you know what? We're DC, and you're only going to see Batman when he's training in year 1, and then when he's old in Batman Beyond. You're never going to see prime time Batman in action. What the hell is that? If that's the case, reboot Star Wars. Because what are we doing? If you have this prime name brand IP character that still has never lived up to his potential, reboot the franchise. Because at this point, you still have a whole younger generation that I don't personally think has the biggest connection to Star Wars compared to the older generation. The older generation, by the way, y'all had a good 40 years. It's been a long run. And guess what? Even for those of y'all that are like, I don't want to see a reboot, keep my Star Wars the way it is. Even if that's the way you feel, let me tell you a real reality check. If Disney said we're rebooting Star Wars today, Where y'all going? Where y'all going? Y'all gonna go back to Babylon 5? You gonna start watching Picard and Star Trek? Where you gonna go? You gonna start watching Doctor Who? Where you going? You gonna sit your butt right here and you gonna watch this new Star Wars that got rebooted. Why? Because you want to see whether they can live up to the hype or your personal expectations, or you gonna want to watch it so you can hate on it, right? So yes, you're not going to go anywhere if you're an old Star Wars fan, and you have way more to gain in terms of potentially getting new viewers by rebooting this and maybe doing certain things that actually would have lived up to the hype that's been built up for decades and never met. One other example besides Luke, because the only thing, and I've talked to the OGs that read all the Star Wars comics and stuff, all they sit here and tell me is Luke is Luke is the baddest Jedi alive in the comics. I'm like, why I gotta go read that? Why do I have to go read the novels for this big primetime superhero type of character? And y'all can't put that in your movies? Like, what are you doing? Why are you hiding your best asset? It makes no sense. So the other one is Boba Fett. How hard did Boba Fett fall? When I tell you, for 30 years, I've been hearing Boba Fett was so cool. Boba Fett had the jetpack. Boba Fett was so dope. So when the Boba Fett show came out, I was like, here we go. Here we go. And there Boba Fett went. Out his own show. Got replaced by another Mandalorian. Where was the hype? Y'all had a character that's been hyped up in legendary status, and y'all couldn't even deliver it on a TV show. Reboot Star Wars. You have literally nothing to lose. Nothing. At this point, you fumbled an entire trilogy. An entire trilogy. You ain't come out with a movie since 2018. 5 years with a ridiculous amount of content. Reboot Star Wars. You got nothing to lose. All you can do is go up at this point. Anyway. I personally would not mind it. Now, here's the thing. I don't really care. If you reboot Star Wars, I'm fine with it. If you don't, I'm cool with that too. I just want them to stop dragging their feet, because it feels like the franchise right now, the closest we get to something fresh or different is like in the TV shows. And TV shows are fine, but they don't have the same impact that a movie will, and it doesn't have the same reach that a movie has. Movies are global. Everybody ain't got Disney Plus. Everybody ain't got, the access like that. So I'm just saying, you put something on the big screen and make that thing feel epic. Make that thing like be I don't know, legendary status. That's where it should be. Anyway, that's my little rant, because I've just been pissed off with Star Wars, even though I'm watching every single one. Shout out to Ahsoka, one of the best shows out there. But anyway, what do y'all think? Do y'all feel as though Star Wars should be rebooted? Do you feel like they should just keep doing more of the same? Do you feel like nothing's wrong? Whatever you think, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. This was just a segment of one of my live chats, and if you're interested in joining in on the next one, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications for more. I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you all later.